Hello Rockstars, Matt Vanderbo here. Hey, in my last video, I talked about the power of collaboration and how you can use collaboration as an accelerant to your own musical career by not only giving you the ability to create music in genres that you would not be able to do by yourself, but also how it can open the doors to get you into music libraries that you are not in yet. And those two things are so beneficial that they can really skyrocket the progression of your musical career. But what if you watched that video and you said to yourself,
I live out in the middle of nowhere in some no-name two-horse town. There is nobody around me to collaborate with. I would love to collaborate, but how in the heck am I supposed to do it when I live out in the middle of nowhere?
Well, you are in luck, fellow rock stars, because this video is going to give you 4 ways in which you can collaborate with other people, and 3 of those ways do not involve being in the same place at the same time. So let's just get right into it. I think the most obvious thing people think of when they think musical collaboration is being in the same room as another person while one of them plays a piano or strums a guitar and the other person hums and does some scat vocals until they come up with a cool chord progression and a cool melody, and you just bounce ideas off of each other and you can look each other in the eye and you can have a conversation face to face, only being separated by maybe 4 or 5 feet. And that is a very intimate and extremely cool way to make music with another person. But even though that may be the first way you can collaborate someone, does not mean that is the only way. If you have a person who you really work well together and you love that live kind of interaction back and forth together in real time, then another way that you can collaborate is just to jump on Zoom or FaceTime or any other video conferencing platform that's out there and just set up your phone and you can still have that live interaction. Someone can be playing guitar or keyboard on one side of the screen and you on the other side can be humming through some ideas, sketching out some lyrics, or however it is that you work. By doing your collaboration through the phone or through the internet, it basically gives you the same type of vibe as being in the same room together, but allows you to work hundreds or thousands of miles apart from each other. I have 2 really good friends of mine, Michelle and Todd, that go by the band name of True Swans. Michelle lives in Canada and Todd lives somewhere near me down in the Boise, Idaho area. They are not only separated by hundreds of miles, but also by a country border. Yet they have still figured out a way to work together for years and have become really successful. And they get together over the internet every single day and co-write music together. I don't know how often they see each other really face to face in a live setting, but they do almost all of their work by seeing each other through a phone or a computer screen. So it can be done. And kudos to those 2 for doing it. Hello, Todd. Hello, Michelle. Y'all should check out True Swans. Okay, so that was the second way to collaborate. Now let's move on to number 3 out of 4. Can you believe we're already on number 3? Okay, number 3 is the way that I prefer to work when I collaborate with other musicians. And in this method, I start the process by creating what I call a music bed. And that is just the instrumental part of what will eventually be a song. And I create this thing probably about 70 to 80% of the way there. It's got all of the structures put in place, so when I send it to a vocalist, they will be able to hear where the verses are and where the hooks are. But they'll also be able to identify sections like pre-choruses, post-choruses, or bridges if the song has those things. So that's what I mean by music bed. And if you work in different genres like pop music, you might refer to this as the track. Or if you work in hip-hop music, you might call this the beat. Either way, we are referring to the same thing. So the terminology that I use is music bed. And I don't know if that's a technical term. I think I might have just made that up, pulled it out of my own ass. Or maybe I heard it from somewhere, I don't know. But you guys all understand what I'm talking about. It is the music without vocals. And then once I get that all sketched out, I send it via email to a singer or a rapper and I say, do your thing. And sometimes there's a little bit of hand-holding involved when they do their thing. So if someone is fairly new to the world of sync music and they don't really know the rules of the game, then I like to hold their hand a little bit more for the first song or two, and we go back and forth on email. I'll have them just sketch out ideas on their phone and send me voice notes. I say, don't bother recording anything official yet. Let's just sketch out an idea together. So put some thoughts down and send me what you've got, and let's see if there's something that really catches my ear that we can work with, or if we need to tweak things a little bit more. And we'll just go back and forth 2, 3, 4 times until we come up with a cool idea. And at that point, I tell the vocalist, okay,
now record your final parts and then send them to me when you're done.
Now, if I am working with a vocalist that I've done tons of music with already, then there is no hand-holding at all. I simply email them the track and wait for parts to come back. That's it. Because I trust these people. I know that they write good lyrics. I know that they have good voices, good approaches, good touches, everything. I wouldn't work with them if I didn't trust them to do their job. And so I just let them work. I don't breathe over their shoulder. I don't even want to know what's going on because I trust them. That's the power of a good partnership, is mutual trust. So eventually they email me their parts back, and at that point I open up the session, plop their vocals into the project, and then start the mixing process and put all the final bells and whistles in. Because remember, when I sent them the original music bed, it was probably only 70 to 80% complete. So now that I have the vocals in the project, I can use their vocals to inform my decision making on what I want to do with extra little lead lines, extra melodies, harmonies, little ding bong booms, any of those types of things. It's all going to be dependent on what they did vocally. So I don't really want to include that stuff when I send them the initial sketch of the track. I want to wait on that until I get their vocals back. So once everything is in there and I've finished all the cool production elements, then I finish off the mix and voila, baby, we've got a complete song. That's it. So I did the production, they did the vocals, and then I finished the production. It's a 3-step process. Starts with me, goes to them, comes back to me, and then song is complete. Like I said, this is the way that I probably do 80% of my collaborations. I really love working this way because it allows music to be in progress even when it's outside of my hands. So I crank out these music beds, send them off, and I'll probably have 5 to 10 of these vocal songs all out to various vocalists, and then I just wait for them to come back. There's usually no rush. And then they come back and I work on it when it comes back to me. But the wheels of progress are still in motion, even though I might be working on something completely different while the vocalist is over here just doing their thing. So it is a very efficient way for me to work. Now, you could also use this collaboration method if you're writing instrumental cues, where maybe you start off with some type of a hip hop bed and then you send it over to a phenomenal guitarist or a flautist or a trumpet player or whatever, because you need something else on there. So you make a track that is 70 to 80% of the way there, and then you send it over to this instrumentalist who kicks back a part, and then you plop it in and finish the production. So it's the exact same method, only instead of sending it off for vocals, you're sending it off for another instrument. Okay, so now the fourth and final way in which you can collaborate is a method that I don't do all that often at all. And that is where you take an acapella vocal and then create the music around the vocal. Now, I do operate this way on occasion, but only if it is a rap song. And that is quite simply because of my limitations as a musician. I do not have the ears to be able to pick out what chord should be going along with a melodic melody. So if someone sings a part, I can't figure out what chord should be going on. Come on, that's way beyond my pay grade. But I do know a lot of people that prefer this method because they are great with picking out chords and voicings. These people are typically your pianists and your guitarists. But for me, I'm a trumpet player and a bass guitarist. I play one note at a time. Far be it from me to start playing chords. That is just so far out of my realm of knowledge that it's like asking me for chords would be like asking Elon Musk to overhaul the federal government. Never mind, I take that back. I would be way out of my league, and I'll leave the rest unsaid. Stick with what you are good at, okay? So I know that I just am not very good at coming up with chord progressions or chordal voicings by using an a cappella vocal as a guide. But what I can do is make music around a hip-hop rap vocal, because rap vocals typically don't have any type of melodic progression. And so I can just kind of pick my key and go with it and create something awesome. Now, there is one glaring downside to this type of method of collaboration, and that is that if you create a song to a vocal, whether it's a rap thing or whether it's melodic, then the music that you build behind that vocal might not match the energy of the original a cappella vocal. So what you're most likely going to have to do is create your music bed around the existing vocal, but treat that as a scratch vocal. So use it as a guide, create your music, and then take it off. Send your music back to the vocalist, who now can sing along or rap along with your music. It is going to change the energy completely, and you need the energy of the vocal to match whatever the energy was of the music. So there you have it, folks. 4 ways in which you can collaborate with other people to make music that you would not normally be able to make yourself, and how you can use all that power to get yourself into new libraries that you are not signed in yet. So now that you have that knowledge, let's end this video on a joke. What kind of teacher never farts in public? A private tutor. Hey, see ya, sucker!